if you are in the market for a full-size premium luxury SUV such as this one, okay, and you are of course ready to spend, you know, around 1 crore rupees, then you have 5 more choices. Okay, the Volvo XC90, the Merc GLE, the BMW X5, the Audi Q7 and the Range Rover Velar. I'm sure you would have noticed by now that the Jeep is the only vehicle which you will get on road under 1 crore rupees. All others, okay, are costlier by anywhere around 5 to approximately 20 lakh rupees. So the question that you might have is whether you should get this or spend some more and get any one of the competitors. So let's talk about the design first. If you ask me which of these looks the best, I would say that the top spot in my eyes would be a tie between the Velar and the XC90. The second spot again would be a tie between this, the Grand Cherokee, and the BMW X5. The last spot would go to the GLE, and I'll tell you why. See, the GLE, unfortunately, amongst all the SUVs Mercedes makes, is the saddest looking of the lot. It looks like that family member that has been forced, that has been compelled to attend a family function or something like that. The GLB is a nice looking vehicle. In fact, all other SUVs that they make, they are good looking vehicles. Another thing is that the XC90 and the Velar would never be mistaken for, say, XC60 or the Evoque respectively. The same cannot be said for the remaining 3. Again, the majority, when a Grand Cherokee passes by, and or say a BMW X5 passes by, that the BMW could be mistaken for an X3. This could be mistaken for, the people would be thinking that whether, okay, is that a Compass, is that a Meridian? Oh, it's a Grand Cherokee. And when it comes to the Merc SUVs, except for of course the G-Wagon, that's in a separate class altogether, none of these from the GLA to the GLS, in fact GLS is an exception because it's huge. All others, people do not know whether that's a 50 lakh Mercedes SUV or that's a 1 crore Mercedes SUV. Again, that should not matter to you if public perception of your car is not important to you. But then I had to give you that perspective as well. Now let's talk about the interiors. Again, this is something that you would have already checked in your test drives. So if you were to call me and you were to ask me, Shiraz, what does the does the cabin feel premium? It feels rich? Of course it does. In isolation, yes, there is nothing wrong at all. It feels good. It is of course a well laid out interior, and something that you would expect from this segment. The issue is the competition. The interiors of all the other vehicles that I mentioned, they feel a bit more premium, a bit more nicer. However, the Grand Cherokee's interiors, they fight back by giving you the absolute best, I would say, ergonomically laid out interiors. And what I mean by that is that there are physical knobs and switches for all the essential functions, okay, for volume, for air conditioning. And when I say air conditioning, I'm referring to the blower settings, the temperature settings, all right. And you have the auto, if you want to disable the auto start stop, you can do that. Lane keep assist, you want to deactivate that, you can do that, you know, with a button. You want to switch on the passenger screen, you can do that. You don't have to go into the touch screen, all right. You want to switch off the traction control, you can do that. You want to disable park assist, you can do that. You can do that by a button. You do not need to, you know, get into the touch screen, all right. Now so yes, ergonomically I absolutely am in love with the interiors of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. You know, the only minor complaints I have, and I have a couple of them, you know, the buttons on the steering wheel, they do not feel as chunky as I was expecting them to be, okay. And another gripe is that the handbrake, okay, is hidden here, basically the parking brake, okay. Again, you get used to it, but you know, it could have been better located. So yes, you know, interiors again would be something which would not be, you know, a decision breaking factor. They are absolutely fantastic. At the cost of repetition, the competitions is just a wee bit better. What about the ride quality, you ask? Okay, well, this does not get air suspension, okay, and the ride quality is nice. In fact, I would say that it's a tad better than the BMW X5. Almost, you know, and that's saying a lot, at the level of the Volvo XC90, okay, that has air suspension. The Merc is decidedly the best here, and you don't expect anything else from a Mercedes, right? Especially in you know, upwards of 80 lakh rupees. And yeah, so ride quality again, not the best of the lot, but then on a par with others. What about the handling? The X5 is of course a bomb, and this handles as good as the other five rather that I mentioned. Performance, well, again, like I said, that I would not read out the brochure. I would tell you exactly how it feels from behind the steering wheel. See, there is ample performance, okay. There is no dearth of power. This is not a monster. In fact, none of the vehicles, you know, in this segment that I mentioned are monsters. But then yes, you know, the Mercedes and the BMW and even the you know, Audi, they are more powerful. But then you would not be getting into a drag race, right? What matters to you is that whether this has ample performance to you know, make overtakes a breeze or not. Yes, okay. Even in the normal auto mode, you would seldom, in fact, you would be engaging the sport mode only in the ghat sections, all right, wherein you will be using the paddle shifters as well. Yeah, the paddle shifters, you know, should have been a bit bigger, but then yeah, you know, you would be driving like that only in the hills for you know, again, you would be doing that for fun. You can drive an auto as well in the hills and it would be fun, but sport would be even more fun. So there's ample performance, and you would not be feeling shortchanged, okay. What matters to you more is effortless cruising performance, okay. How unstressed these vehicles are at cruising speeds. This one does 100 kilometers per hour in top gear, that is 8th gear, okay. at just 1600, 1700 RPM. All right, my friend's Grand Cherokee V6, that does at 1800 RPM. So whoever, you know, talks about no replacement for displacement hasn't driven this vehicle or hasn't heard of turbochargers, right? And thankfully, you know, so normally what happens in this happens in small capacity like 1000cc 1200cc engines, that you gain a sudden spike and, you know, below that it is dead. This has a very linear power delivery. There are no spikes as such, and that matters. For example, you know, more often than not, this would be chauffeur driven. Okay, you would be sitting at the back and your chauffeur would be driving, and you would not want, you know, sharp sudden jerks. Okay, you would not want to spill your beverage. So nothing of that sort in this car. And yes, talking about, you know, chauffeur driven and you know, how you would expect such a 1 crore rupee almost vehicle to be, the NVH levels. I'm not using an external mic. Okay, this is GoPro's mic that is being used to, you know, record this, and I'm sure you'll agree that this is a fairly quiet cabin, and yes, you will be able to you know, take meetings and you know, have conferences in here. That would not be a problem at all. What else? So we've talked about ride quality, handling, performance, cruising speed, RPM, and again, something that you already know, the seats are fantastic. Okay, they are very comfortable, and the rear seats are heated, they're not cooled. And I have seen a couple of reviewers from Pune and Bombay saying that, oh, you know what, Jeep could have eliminated the, you know, heated seats function because we don't need it. Dude, okay, come here, come to Delhi. Okay, right now this is November. Come to Delhi in December and January, and then I'll ask you whether you need it or not. It's definitely needed. And of course, if you go further up north, in Himachal, Leh, Ladakh, you would definitely need, you know, heated seats. Of course, just because you don't need it in Pune, Bombay does not mean that others would not need it. So this is a very nice, comfortable cabin, which you would love. Now, okay, let's talk about off-road. See, this is where this decimates the entire competition. Okay, so Jeep, they've been making 4x4s longer than any of these manufacturers that I just mentioned. Okay, you know, I'm sure you would have at least heard about the Willys Jeep. Toyota got, you know, the inspiration to make 4x4s from that vehicle. In fact, they were asked to. Okay, that's a story for some other day. Land Rover, they got inspired by the Willys Jeep. Okay, and several other manufacturers. And in fact, if you Google SUV, majority of the results will show that it was the Grand Cherokee which started the luxury SUV segment. Okay, so again, a bit of history for you. So the first 4-door 4x4 passenger SUV was the Willys wagon, Willys Jeep wagon. It came out in 1946, but it got 4-wheel drive in 1949. Okay, and then what are you doing in the middle of the road? Dude. And then came the Wagoneer, then came the Cherokee, then came the Grand Cherokee. So the crux is Jeep has been making 4x4s longer than any other manufacturer in the world, and therefore they have more expertise in the subject. Okay, now the Grand Cherokee that I'm driving right now, the one that is available in India, gets the basic Quadra-Track 1 system, whereas in the US and in other markets they also have the option of Quadra-Track 2 and Quadra Drive, which is essentially the Quadra-Track 2 with an electronic limited slip differential at the rear. And what is Quadra-Track 2? It is basically this transfer case only, the Quadra-Track 1 with a low ratio as well. This one is a single speed transfer case. It does not get a low ratio. However, and like I said, only the Mercedes GLE gets a low ratio transfer case as well. All others have center diffs. Okay, now this vehicle, say for example, if you are in a convoy, okay, with all the other vehicles that I mentioned, they would say that, you know what, the one in the Grand Cherokee would be leading. And if you are, I'm talking about if you are going off-road, if you are going into uncharted territories, okay, they would say that, you know what, the friend in the Grand Cherokee will lead the way, because this is bloody capable. All right, I was not expecting, in fact, when we got the launch press release, I had written to Jeep that does this have the Quadra-Track 1 and not 2, and not even the and not the Quadra Drive? By the way, the Quadra Drive vehicle, it also gets air suspension. Okay, of course you can increase the ride height. This doesn't. But then I am happy to report that this is phenomenal in this company. All right, so this has a snow mode and a mud and ruts mode. Basically it says not a mud and ruts, it's sand and mud. Okay, and the third mode, auto, which I'm driving in right now, and the other one is sport. So two off-road modes, snow, and the other is sand/mud. When you go off-road, put it in sand/mud and it becomes invincible. All right, I'm not exaggerating one bit. It just does not allow the wheels to slip. The brake lock differential is the best that I've experienced yet in any vehicle, and you know that I've tested a lot of 4x4s. Okay, this, in fact, it makes you feel like you are actually using, you are actually crawling in low ratio. Okay, it is that good. And yeah, so and that is why you buy a Jeep. That is why you will choose this over everything else. Even though I know that the majority of the Grand Cherokee owners would never take it off-road, but it's always comforting to know that you have the most capable, okay, unibody SUV in this group that can be taken off-road. Okay, the most capable off-road vehicle in this group. So what's the verdict, you ask? See, the point is, if you do not plan to take it, do a bit of slightly serious off-roading, yeah, you can get one of the Germans or any other vehicle. You buy this, okay, because you want to explore, the uncharted territories. All right, you would not be afraid to, you know, for example, if you see a broken road and you are wondering where it goes, in this one you would not be afraid to check where does that go. I did that, okay, and yes, without even putting you know, the slightest of scratch on the vehicle. And yeah, so that's the verdict. This has a lot of character. I would say that, again, you know, if I had that kind of money, if I won a lottery, I would buy this. If I had to buy a unibody SUV, see, I would buy the Wrangler, okay, that is just me. But in this company, if I had to buy one vehicle, that will be the Jeep Cherokee. My only request to Jeep would be, please, you know, get the, you know, full on Quadra drive equipped Jeep Grand Cherokee, okay, get the Quadra Track 2 as well. And yeah, I mean, you have this at a very competitive price, okay, have those options as well. Why not? You're already assembling this, okay, just putting, you know, that would be a matter of, again, you know, that would have air suspension as well, but I'm sure you can do that. And yeah, so that was my review. Please let me know if you liked it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Leave a comment even if you do not have a question, and do hit that like button, do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.